Howdy y'all, welcome to this video here on the Dixieish Writin YouTube channel. Today we're going to read bit 1, which is to say part 1 of the tale Barstow's New Track. And I'm going to point out some stuff about word linking. Alright, I'll go ahead and start reading here. One day, a man whose last name was Barstow took it upon himself to make a long trek outside the big town in which he lived. Alright, so notice a man. We're not saying a man. Here in the South, we link our articles. Un, the, or the man, a man, an apple, right? It's said together, so we write it together. I noticed recently that the Dixieish spacing system is rather similar to Korean, the Kazakh, Mongolian, some of these other tongues that are agglutinative. And so it's because we stick stuff on to the end or the beginning of words. What in homeless English, which is what I call international or national standard English, would be everything separated. We're connecting things. We're making connections. There's linkings. So in Dixieish, when we say last name, that's one idea, one concept. So that is two words brought together to make one word, but it's still pronounced like two words brought together. So to link them, we do the dash, or the squiggly dash in the handwriting. But for words that are shortened, only have one single vowel that link to another word, we do not put a space. All right, we sit out here too with was Barstow. So a man whose last name was Barstow, if we were to take this was and put our back in there and have it be was, then it would be a man whose last name was Barstow. And that would be expressing that it was, but now it's not. Here we're just saying it was Barstow because we're speaking in the past tense, all right? Took it upon himself. So it is the object form of it or it, and that will tack on to the end. And upon, that's one word, upon in English, upon. And some folks think, well, won't that be confusing? Because I might think this is like a pawn, like a space PAWN. But the context will make it clear. And actually, I did an experiment where I talked to a couple different people, typed with them, and used no spaces. And they were still able to read and write in the script. So, really, and there's a lot of other scripts in the world that don't have spaces, believe it or not. And not just the syllabic scripts like Chinese and Japanese, also Thai and Lao and Khmer and stuff like that. Don't have spaces, so you don't really need it actually if you know the words. However, the spacing system in Dixieish shows more meaning than the no spaces or than the space between every word like homeless English does. But we'll see more of how that goes here as we go along. Himself, to make, so infinitives, which is to plus a verb, that's written together. Along, trek, outside the big town, outside, in which he lived. All right, now that apostrophe there is to show the V sound. The V with the apostrophe is the V consonant. The D, you don't need an apostrophe or a comma or nothing. The apostrophe is just for certain letters. The comma is for contractions, but that's not a contraction, so we have no comma. Go on out of here, shall I? He said to the morning fog. So to the morning fog in homeless English. To the morning, to the morning, to the morning fog. That's why we sound the way we do, because we speak an agglutinative, linking, sticky language where words stick together sometimes. It had been years since he'd made a trek. So it'd, what does that mean? It would. He'd, what does that mean? It could mean he would, but here it's he had. But right, we do the commas for those shortenings. Further than the end of the neighborhood. So here we have done, meaning than, the, meaning the, and then end, and then it's like of. So you might get confused at first and think, okay, dun, day, unda, but just get used to, okay, dunda, enda. Just get used to it. It'll become very normal very quickly. The neighborhood. Excuse me. All I need right here, he'd tell himself. Now this track wasn't, which is another way to say wasn't in almost English, him running away. Now that is not a. That's not a way, but a way. He found a way, or he ran away. The context will tell you which it is. Is that a part of the word away, or is it tacked on to way? All right. It wasn't a make-believe path to take him. So we have him as an object, shortened to or him, to take him away from here. But when it's emphasized, we'll keep the the y, but it wasn't. But most of the time in a normal sentence, it's shortened, it's tacked on. But it wasn't, or here we have wasn't. You can write it wasn't or wouldn't, or both. Fully something. Don't y'all love that? Don't y'all love that you can write something, nothing? You don't have to write something, something. So Dixieish. All right. Fully something he needed to do either. Something had but called him out. So something had but called him out, and here, but means kind of like just or only. No reason, Something just but called him out. Like a father calling his son to come out from his mother's sometimes overbearing safekeeping. Like a call to come join one's folk you been kept from. Now, from actually could be shortened and tacked on as well. Kept from. You been kept from. Or you been kept from. I would probably shorten it actually. By sheer happenings. And the by, actually, there don't need to be a space there. By sheer happenings. And it's a handful of words. It's a dozen or two words that are going to be shortened and tacked on. It's not every word. So you get used to which ones it is, and then you'll start to realize, okay, that makes sense. There was no speech to be heard calling him. Now, there was no speech. There was no speech. This generally you'd think it would be tacked on because it's shortened. There's only one vowel. But in some dialects, in handwriting, we'd have a vertical line on that. Or even you don't need the vertical line really, because it's just obvious because there's a space that it's not a shortened word. It's just how some of us say the word there. There was. Some of us say der. There was no speech to be heard calling him. There was no thought that it was or wasn't from God or from any other being. It was but a knowing. It was but something he knew. It was but a knowing. And so he set off. He tidied up his little house, locked the foredoor, which is the big front door, the back door, So he locked the front door and the back door. He locked the front door and the back door. And got to walking down the road. Right? You know, there's a lot of tuh, a lot of duh, and a lot of and to the to the. This was neither a great trek with a heavenly meaning, nor was it but the madness of man. It was time. Little did Barstow know, but this would be, now you notice, oh, why is it but, not but? They're kind of interchangeable. Uh, but this, but this, but this, but this. Little did Barstow know, but this would be. Little did Barstow know, but this would be. Yeah, I tend to stick with the I might edit that actually. Make it be a but they're kind of hard to hear the difference anyway. So you see but or but in the beginning like that, it's but. Alright? But this would be a brand new leaf in his life. Now, like turn a new leaf. Brand new, right? A brand new. Why don't it say brand new, you might wonder? Well, earlier we had that too. We had last name. It didn't say last name, because when we join the words in Dixieish in our speak, we tend to drop the last letter when there's more than one consonant, more than one meaty speech bit. We drop it when we connect it to another word, make a compound word. So brand new, you know, it's not usually brand new, right? Brand new. Leaf in his life. Even in his old age. As the leaf turn, so goes on the tale. But this was the switching of the whole book. This was the switching of the whole book. This was the switching of the whole book. You hear how when we talk, we say it, like we really connect those words like that. These was the switching of the whole book. And some folks think, oh, it's a slush mouthed, uneducated, unclear. It's not. It's just a glutton of speak. Now we could connect that. It ought to be a space after that, but all right. Beyond the neighborhood. Beyond the neighborhood was a great hill made of rock. Now, actually, we'll change that. That don't need to be emphasized. Not was a great hill made of rock. It just was a great hill made of rock. So I'll change that. That hill had not been spanned through or around by anyone in the big town for many tens of years. Many tens of years, meaning, what do y'all think that means? It means decades. All right. Make a note here on my paper because there's a couple little areas I'm gonna edit in here that I already pointed out to y'all. Damn. All right. No, it's still gonna be that, but also the. All right. I did it again, but it was said by his fellow elders that beyond. So when we say that, it was said that beyond. So that dut go attach. It was said that beyond the hill lived their brothers, so also possessive pronouns. My brother, their brothers. His brother, it's called attached at the beginning there. Their brothers, who were fully alike themselves. He was told they even spoke the same tongue and behaved the same way. How they knew this of folk not seen for tens of years, who knows? How they knew this of folk not seen for 10 years, who knows? Barstow was neither thinking of the brothers beyond the big hill of lore, nor was he setting out to go beyond the hill or even towards it. But, now this but I might keep it separated because we're making a real contrast there. But that would be the way the still wind blew for him. He started out going towards the other way from the big hill, but something great had happened that he even more so did not foresee than his trek itself, that would come to tell him his way of going. All right. If y'all have any questions, let me know in the comments. Feel free to reach out. I'll put the link to this into the blog there in the description box. And yeah, don't be afraid to use the script, comment edit, comment any questions you got. And if you know me outside of here, feel free to send me a message. And yep. All right, I'll see y'all. Bye.